Hello everyone, welcome back. In the previous video we had completed the UI for our profile page, and now in this video we are actually going to link up our profile page to our auth provider as well as pull the data for the currently logged in user and actually display it inside of our auth provider. But before I get started, I would quickly like to address an issue that I had recorded this video and proceeded to recording all of the other videos in our course and further developing the application. But upon returning to edit my videos, I realized that this video did not have any audio associated with it, and I decided to re-record this video. And for that reason, there may be small differences in the application state for you as compared to the application state right now in this video. But wherever these differences occur, I'm going to highlight them. So without anything further to do, let's get into it. So the first thing we're going to do is that we are going to link up our profile page to our auth provider. For that, first we'll have to import the provider package and the auth provider. So I'll import our auth provider first, and once we have our auth provider imported, the next thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to import the provider package. Okay, so with that done, the next thing we're going to do is that we're going to go to the build method of our profile page, and we're going to wrap the profile page UI inside of a new widget, and I'm going to do command dot, and then I'm going to do wrap with widget, and you can do control dot if you're in Windows. And then the widget that we're going to use is going to be a change notifier provider, and the type of this change notifier provider is going to be auth provider. And then after that, we're going to use the dot value constructor. Then I'm going to add a comma here and do Alt-Shift-F. Then I'm going to define the actual value for our change notifier provider, and it's going to be our auth provider dot instance. Once we have that, I'm going to do Alt-Shift-F and command save. With that, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to go to the function that is responsible for generating the profile page UI, and I'm going to take the main align widget. And then what I'm going to do is that I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to wrap this inside of a builder function or a builder widget, which is going to give us a build context in its builder function. And I'll call the context underscore context. And then I'm going to add the semicolon to Alt-Shift-F. And inside of the function, I'm going to return the actual align widget. Do Alt-Shift-F, and then add a comma here and do command save. Then I'm going to define a new variable inside of our builder function, and this variable is going to access our actual auth provider. And the way we're going to do this is how we've done in previous videos, where we're going to do provider.auth, and then the type of our provider, which is going to be auth provider, and then where we're going to get this from the context, and then Alt-Shift-F command save. So with that, we should have access to our auth provider. So now the next thing we're going to do is that we are going to go back to our database service file, and we're going to define a new function inside of our database service. And that function is going to be the function that is going to be responsible for actually getting our user data. And this is the function that we're going to create. So I'm going to rewrite this function here for you. And all our function is going to do is that it's going to return a stream. And then the function is going to be named get user data. And then there's going to be a string that gets passed in, and that's the user ID for the user that we want to get the data for. And then what we're going to do is that we're going to define the database reference or the location of the document inside of the database. And we'll go to db.collection, then the underscore user collection, and then the document, and the document is going to be the user ID. Once we have the reference defined, the next thing we're going to do is that we're going to do reference.get and then as stream. So we're going to get the document, and then we're going to map this get document, or we're going to transform this get document into a stream. But this is going to return us, if you see a stream, and it's going to give us a document snapshot for the stream's snapshot data. And what I would like to do is to give more structure to our data. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to transform our stream of document snapshot into a stream of a contact, a class that we can interact with. So the next thing we're going to do now, and then we'll come back to this function, is that we're going to create a new folder inside of our lib. And the folder is going to be called models, and then you'll create a new file, which is contact.dart. Inside of contact.dart, you have to import the Cloud Firestore package, and then you have to create this class, which is called our contact class. The class is going to have some properties. So final string ID, final string email, final string image, final timestamp last seen, and then final string name. And then this is going to be the constructor for our class. And the reason we have these curly braces is so that we can actually have named arguments for these actual arguments. So the ID is then going to be put in for the ID, the email is going to be put in for the email. Now I'm also creating a helper factory method, which is going to allow us to take a document snapshot that is provided to us from Firestore and actually create a contact instance from it. And the way we're going to do this is that we're going to have a factory method and then contact.from Firestore. We are going to get a document snapshot passed in. We'll get the data from our snapshot, and then we'll return a new instance of our contact, and we'll, for the ID, use snapshot.document ID. For the last scene, we'll do data last scene. Then for the email, we'll do data email. For the name, we'll do data and then the name key, and then image is going to be data image. Once we have this, we can close down our contact file. Don't forget to save it. We can come back to our database.service file. And then what we can do is that we can map our stream into a new stream. And this stream is going to provide us with a snapshot. And what are we going to do with the snapshot? Well, what we're going to do is that we're going to return. And what we're going to return is going to be contact and then from Firestore. And don't forget to actually import the contact model on top. So once you have the contact model imported, which is going to be /models contact, you're going to create the contact, and then you're going to do from Firestore, and then pass in the snapshot that gets passed to us into Alt-Shift-F, command save. Since I already have a function named similar to get user data, that's why I'm getting this error, but you hopefully wouldn't. And then we're also going to define the type of the stream, and the type of our stream is going to be contact. So we're going to get a stream of contact. Then I'm just going to remove this function, and that function was basically this function. So with that, I'm going to do Alt-Shift-F, command save. We're going to go back to our profile page, and we're going to go to the top, and then we'll import our database service. So // and then services, and then database service, and do Alt-Shift-F, command save. So with that, the next thing we are going to do is that we're going to go down, and we are going to go to a line widget that we have inside of our builder. And then what we're going to do is that we are going to actually wrap our align widget inside of a stream build. So to make things easy, I'm just going to copy the align widget and all of its contents. I'm going to create a new stream builder. Then for the builder function, we'll get in a build context. So that is _context. And then we'll also get a snapshot, which is our data. And then what I'm going to do is that I'm going to add a semicolon to Alt-Shift-F, command save. Inside of our builder function, we are going to return all of the widgets that were previously being returned, which was our line widget, and do Alt-Shift-F, command save. So with that, now we have our stream builder. And now what we can do is that we can actually define the stream for our stream builder. And the stream is going to be our database service, and then .instance, and then and then we're going to do get user data, and the user ID in this case is going to be your auth, and then the user, and then UID. So with that, then I'm just going to do Alt-Shift-F and command save. But before we proceed any further, I would like to explain to you what a stream builder is. So stream builder allows us to actually listen to a stream, and then every time something inside of that stream changes, or the stream actually emits a new value, the stream builder rebuilds all of the widgets that are inside of its builder function. And that's all what a stream builder does. And it also provides us the data in the snapshot argument that gets passed into the builder function. So now I'm going to get our user, and the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to define a new variable, and I'm going to call this user data. And then I'm going to set this equal to our snapshot.data. Now for intelligence to work, and for us to actually see the properties that our user data would have, what we can do is that we can define a type for our stream builder, and the type of our stream builder, if you remember, was context. It's going to get a stream of contact. And then I'm just going to remove the build context and do Alt-Shift-F, command save. But before we can do anything, we would have to import our contact model. So we are going to go to the top, and then we are going to do import .. and then models, and then it's going to be contact .. Alt-Shift-F, command save. So with this, the error should have been resolved. So firstly, we'll change the username widget, and now what we're going to do is that we're going to pass in the user data and then the name of our user. For then I'm going to copy this line. For our image, we're going to do the same thing. So we'll do username, user data image. And then finally for our email, we'll do user data and then we'll do the actual email. And then we'll do Alt-Shift-F, Command, Save. Now if we go back to our profile page, we're going to see that we get the Sain Mustafa, the email, and the actual profile image. The last thing that I would like to do is that to actually, if we reload our app and if we go to our profile page, we're going to see that we get an error for the time that we do not have our user data, or the data is null. And for that, all we would have to do is that we would have to copy our line widget, and we're going to use a tertiary statement. So we're going to check that our snapshot dot has data. If it does have data, then we're going to show our line widget. And if it doesn't have our data, then we are going to show a loading indicator. So I'm going to go to the top and I'm going to import our Flutter spin kit package. So or not dot dots, it's going to be Flutter spin kit, yes, this. And this was added as a dependency inside of our pubspec.yaml file. And then I'll come down to where we have our align, to where we had to show our loading indicator. And then I'm going to create a new loading indicator using the class, which is spin kit wandering cubes. And then we'll define the color, and the color is going to be colors.blue. And then finally we'll define the size, and the size is going to be 50.0, and I'll do Alt-Shift-F, Command, Save. Once we have this, I'm just going to reload our app. We are now going to go back to our profile page, but you're going to see for the time that we do not have access to our data, we are shown a loading indicator, as you saw. So with that, the last thing we have to do is that we have to make our logout button work. And for that, what we're going to do is that we're going to go to our auth provider, and we'll create a new function, which is going to be this function. And this function is going to be logout user. And it's going to be passed in a future void on success function, and then it's going to have a try catch statement. Inside of our try catch statement, first we'll try to sign out using await.signout. We'll set our user to null. We'll set our status to not authenticated. We'll then call the actual function that gets passed in if you want to perform any actions in between. Finally, we'll navigate back to our login page, and then we'll show up a snack bar. For logged out successfully, if an error occurs, then we'll just say error logging out. And then after all of this is done, we'll notify our listeners. So once the logout user function is defined, we're going to go back to our profile page. We're going to go down to where we have our logout button. And then here, what we're going to do is that we are going to actually access our auth provider. And what I'm going to do before this is that I'm going to go to the top of our profile page. I'm going to define a new variable, which is going to be auth provider underscore auth. Then what I'm going to do is that inside of our actual profile page UI function, I'm going to remove this var keyword, and then this new variable that we created is going to have access to our auth provider. It's going to store the reference to it. We'll come down to our logout button, and then inside here we're going to do auth and then dot logout user, and then for the on success I'll just leave this as empty, and then do Alt-Shift-F, Command, Save. And with that, that should pretty much work. So I'm just going to reload our application. I'm going to go to our profile page. All of the data we see is for the currently logged in user. So I'm just going to click on logout. It logs us out. And now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to I'm going to log in as another user. And I think tomcruise@gmail.com was a user that we had registered. And then test123 and log in. And once we log in like this, we go here and you're going to see that now the data that gets showed to us is for the currently logged in user, who's Tom, and the email, and then his actual logout button. So with that, we have successfully completed our profile page. And now in the next video, we are going to create our recent conversation page, which is going to show us all of the conversations that the user was having with all of the other users inside of our application. So with that, I'm going to end this video here, and I'm going to see you guys in the next one. Peace.